Hi everyone. So just to kind of recap, I did a video the other day talking about being the mom of two amazing boys, one of whom is on the spectrum, and kind of why I wanted to start this channel and this video. So with that being said, I thought that this video I would talk a little bit about the process of how we found out that Phoenix was autistic and what that journey was like. I would like to first off state that I am in no way a medical professional. If you have any questions or concerns, or think that you or a child or a spouse or anybody is autistic or on the spectrum or anything like that, you please seek medical advice, because that is not what I'm here for. I'm simply here to kind of share our journey in hopes that it can help somebody else out there, because I know it's not easy. And I'm filming today at my beautiful friend, an amazing friend, Forrest Franzoi's house. So I just want to give a shout out to her for letting me use her outdoor space to film this video, because she is absolutely amazing and a rock in every way, shape, or form. So with that being said, I am going to probably do two videos because it's a really long process. And this one I think I will talk about how he was first, we thought that he was maybe on the spectrum, and where we went from there. And then the second one is the program that he would be in now. So he had been in daycare since he was, maybe 6 months old. And when they transitioned him from the baby room up into, the infant toddlery room, somewhere around 13 months, one of the people in the room came to me and said, hey, he's not really talking, and, you might want to get this checked out. And let me stop there and say that we had noticed that. He did have a few words. He had, said, uh-oh, mama, dada, dog, things like that. But we definitely noticed that he wasn't speaking like other kids his age were. And at first we just kind of assumed that he would get there. And then he lost all language. He didn't say anything. He made lots of grunting sounds. He would yell at his hand, stand on his tippy toes, lots of things that are common with kids that have autism, but things at the time that we didn't put it all together. So she gave me a pamphlet on a program called Birth to 3 that we have here in Wisconsin, where they come out to your house, they evaluate your child, and provide services through the county, state, all of the above. And what that program did is they came to the house, evaluated him, said, yes, obviously he needs some speech therapy, maybe even a little occupational therapy as well, because he had some issues with sensory issues. He didn't like to eat a lot of foods, very picky eater. So all of that being said, they came out and we started this hodgepodgey speech therapy. And to be perfectly honest, it wasn't the greatest experience. It really didn't help him at all. I think all it did was stress him and us out more. But in the end, what happened was she said, I think he's on the spectrum. You should get an evaluation. And because he was transitioning out of that, we were able to contact the Green Bay Public School System to have them come and evaluate him to see if we could get him into an early education program through the Green Bay Public School System. So at that point, when she told me that, they thought he was on the spectrum, I kind of had already known this. I had talked to my pediatrician about it for a while. This wasn't a huge shock to me. My mom's a therapist. My dad was a school social worker. I grew up around a lot of this type of knowledge. I apologize for moving around so much. I'm sitting outside and bugs are crawling on me. So this wasn't a huge shock to me. I think it was a much larger shock to my husband, but to me, wasn't a huge shock. So they actually contacted the Green Bay Public School System, who then contacted us, and they did a bajillion hours of evaluations. They went to his daycare and evaluated him. They came to our home and evaluated him. They did this over the course of, I want to say it was 2 weeks, but it was only like 5 days. It was spread out. And what they came back with was an evaluation that said, yes, absolutely, he is on the spectrum. Speech is clearly where he's lacking the most. However, there were other tasks he couldn't do that kids his age could do. You know, he didn't understand colors. He didn't understand stacking cups and, you know, things like that. So again, none of this was a shock to me. The next step from there was that all of these people that came, you know, the speech therapist, the early education teacher, the occupational therapist, all of these people, they got together and they created an IEP, which is an individualized education plan. And then once that was done, got a call, hey, we're ready to discuss this with you and see what the plans are for school. And keep in mind, he wasn't even 4 at this point. He was just turning, I think, 3. But because of this early education program, he was able to get into that. So we went to the school board. We met in this god-awful tiny room the size of a bathroom, and there was like 10 of us in there. It was 95 degrees out. I was pregnant at the time with Logan, which is our 9-month-old, and they were telling me all of this information that I already knew, and I was like, get me out of here. Just tell me what the next step is. And I'm sure for other families it would have been extraordinarily helpful, but because I knew everything they were telling me and I'd already knew about this process a million times, because like I said, my dad was a school social worker, for me it was like, all right, we got it, like, let's move on. What do we do from here? So at that point, we came up with his plan. They showed it to us. I said, yep, sounds great. And he started his early education class. He went half a day, 4 days a week. They picked him up either from the house or from daycare. They bused him there. He got to go to a special school that had like a sensory room, so it had swings and ball pits and all kinds of things for the kids. And it was fantastic for us, knowing that he was finally getting some very real treatment. And I should have stated this much earlier in the video, but with autism, it is very important, like when you're on the spectrum, that getting that early ABA therapy, early intervention is extraordinarily important. And we were already kind of behind the ball. So again, I'm not diagnosing anything. I'm just putting out there general knowledge that it is important to get early intervention. So at that point, he started his class. And one thing that really amazed us is they have like a teacher night or a parent-student night, I don't know, whatever it's called. And you can go and meet the teacher. Excuse me. And when we went to the school, he didn't like it at first because he doesn't really like a lot of people. He doesn't like kids as much. But as soon as we got into her classroom, that early education classroom that she had created, he was like at home. He was at peace. And I was amazed. And she is the nicest, the sweetest, the calmest person I've ever met. And I thought, all right, we found a home here. Like, this is going to be fantastic. And I was petrified that it was going to be this huge ordeal. Like, he was going to get on the bus and he was going to cry and freak out because he didn't know where he was going. Got on the bus fine and loved it. Could have cared less. So I'm here panicking, like, oh my God, my kid's going to be freaking out. And he gets on the bus and, okay, bye, Mom. Like, doesn't even care. I mean, he didn't say bye, Mom, because he can't talk. He's nonverbal. But you get my point. And so he did that for, the school year. And we did see him grow quite a bit. He had an issue with like hitting and pushing, and he can't communicate, so his only way of communicating was to be able to push somebody away when he didn't want them by him, or when he was upset to hit his head on the floor or to smack you. And to no fault of his own, he just didn't understand like how to get those emotions out. So it requires a lot of patience to be the parent of a child with autism, and I'm not even going to sugarcoat that. I'm very blunt. It's a lot. Sometimes you have to take a step back and take a breath and regroup yourself because you don't know if you have any more patience left in you that day. But somehow you rally, and you do, because they're your kid and you love them. And so they started, when he would hit, she would actually take his arm and stop him and go, nice touch, nice touch. So we noticed right away, like when he would get frustrated, he would sort of go to hit, but it would not be a hit, it would be a very gentle touch. And he started to verbalize more, randomly we'd hear him say things like moo or baby, because I was pregnant at the time, and actually had the baby not long after he started. So it was a fantastic program. It was very, regimented. There was like a buzzer for certain things, for cleanup time, a bell for, cleanup at the end of the day. They taught him how to put his jacket on. They, really, he did go leaps and bounds through that. So I give so much credit to that program, to the Green Bay Public Schools early education program at Lincoln Elementary. It's amazing, and it was amazing, and I think it was even more amazing that they had a sensory room. So, for kids like him who can get overstimulated, they had a pressure vest that they could put on him, which did wonders. They had swings where he could kind of get some of that energy out, and it was great. So that was that portion of it. While he was in school and all of this was going on, rewind to we got our evaluation and we're gonna start school. We knew that this wasn't gonna be long term. We knew that he needed more one-on-one, high intensity treatment. That, from all of the research and all of the studies, that is what is found to work. So you kind of have to find an ABA accredited center that does one-on-one, intensive, 40 hours a week work with kids. So my mom found that. She found WEAP, which is Wisconsin Early Autism Project. And they are amazing. So now we have to do another set of 1 million evaluations. So I can't remember if they came to our house first or if we went there first. I think we went there first. They evaluated him. Then they said, we already have the IEP. We've done this evaluation, which was more intense. And yes, he's clearly on the spectrum, clearly could benefit from our services. Here are the next steps. Called me, said, oh, I'm so sorry, I was getting a phone call. They called me and said, yes, he is on the spectrum and this is what it's going to cost. And this is where I'm going to stop the video and I will start a new one.